Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. This week we are going to do something a little different. I've got a brand new jointer planer here and we are going to unbox this, set it up, and then put it through its paces. I've got a big stack of lumber that's been sitting around that needs to get jointed and planed. And so I'm gonna run all of that through that so I can really put this through its paces in a quick time and give you my initial thoughts. I'm not gonna do a full-on review because again, it's just a first try, first setup, but I do wanna put it through its paces so that you can get an honest opinion of what I think about this machine right now. So stick around, let's get her set up, see what she can do. Here it is, fully set up. This is now ready to go. Off camera, I did set the fence to 90 degrees and I leveled the outfeed table. And so what we're gonna do here is take our first cut. I've got it set to a 1/32 inch cut. I've got this piece of oak firewood I just grabbed from the pile outside. And so I'm going to try to flatten one face and then get a 90-degree parallel and we'll see how she does. Headphone users, beware, and here you go, first firing. That's really anticlimactic. Now that we're back, the machine is now running. I ran a few boards to make sure that it was cutting, fixed a few problems. The heart of the issue, for those of you who were wondering why it just didn't start when it turned on, is the dust chute. This dust chute needs to be attached here and it needs to be all the way up. So I'm going to lower this just a little bit. And you can barely hear, but as I raise it up, listen for a click. That click is the dust chute pushing the safety lever. And when you put the dust chute on the top to plane, it also detents right here. If it is not all the way up, it has a cutoff switch, which is what caused the problem and which is why the jointer would not work. So now that we actually have it working and it's running and it's not broken, we are going to give this a proper test drive. So I've got a set of headphones. For those earmuffs for me, if you are listening with headphones, watch your volume because this sucker is loud. And there you have it. We have our nice finished jointed piece. Got a nice 90-degree angle. So I'm actually gonna bring the camera around, get a nicer shot so you can see what the surface finish looks like, as well as you can see that nice 90-degree corner. If we take a look here with our square, I mean, that is dead flat. The whole way through, we've got a nice dead flat, no light coming through, perfect 90-degree corner. So with that said, let's switch it into planer mode and see how she does planing this down to thickness. All right, so here we are now. We've got two sides perfectly square, ready to run through the planer. We are all set up. And again, when we screwed this piece on, there's a little tab here. You have to make sure this goes all the way down till you hear that click. Then you know it is tripped that safety lock and you are ready to go. And so we're gonna put this through and take passes until we get a nice, clean, parallel face. And there it is, our face. Now, let's get a set of calipers and see how close we did. So I've got a set of digital calipers here. And so let's just get some measurements. We are at 22375, 223, 2223, 47. So again, 2.2, basically 2.2 the whole way through, the hundredths of an inch, which again, for what I'm doing, for bowl turning and for the small joint ups we're gonna be doing, that is perfectly fine. So I am now going to process as much wood as I can. And when I'm done, I'm gonna give you my thoughts, because right now, it's great. It's made the handful of cuts. The knives are still perfect. Right out of the box, this thing is cutting great, but let's see how it does after a fair amount of planing. And so here it is, all of our finished wood. We've got walnut and maple and some oak and some cherry and black cherry, and all of this wood went through this planer and joiner with no hiccups. It fed everything. Big cuts, little cuts, thin cuts, wide cuts. It did it all, and it did it with a nice surface finish. The machine is not an industrial unit, so you do have to be careful. If you are running it against the grain, it won't rip it out, but it will bog down. You gotta be careful, you gotta make sure you're running it through the right way. But if you do use the machine in the right way, it is a wonderful upgrade from what I have been using. Now, I have used industrial machines in the past, and this is not them. This is not gonna be the end all be all. The beds are not that long, and so you can't joint super long pieces. But for the average woodworker, this is going to be a huge upgrade. I really, really like this machine. Now, I have only used this for about 3 days and this one stack of lumber, which as a wood turner is a lot of lumber. But if you are a builder, you are a furniture maker, you might look at this stack of lumber and go, okay, cool, that's one project. And so I will be continuing to test this out and continuing to push it just to see how it does work in my shop. And again, as a wood turner, this is gonna spend 99% of its life in jointing mode, jointing 2 pieces of wood before I glue them together to make, say, a chaos blank or do a 2-tone piece. So I really do like the machine. It worked great. There are 2 areas that it did get a little wonky on me. The first one is dust collection. You need to use this with a dust collector. I don't normally run a dust collector in my shop. Most of my tools just drop their dust and I pick it up at the end. But with that dust chute being a requirement for the safety feature, if you do not run it, it will clog and then it'll run the machine hot. So you've got to run dust collector. And the other thing is just getting used to this style of machine. The feeding in, not being able to see that cutter head because of how deep it is here is different. It is something to get used to. Not a problem, just different. And so with that said, I'm super excited to have this in my shop. The last thing I'm gonna say is I have got to clean my shop. This place is a mess. All of this wood's got to get processed and put somewhere. The jointer has to find its new home, and all of the mess I made, moving things around, kicking up dust, has to be taken care of. So come back next week and I'll show you how I'm going to reorganize my entire shop, move benches and redo things so that this thing has a new place to live and gets ready for some future projects. With that said, have a wonderful day. I'll see you all next week.